This episode of the Coarse Grind Podcast has been brought to you by Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, family-owned and operated screen printing and embroidery business located in a historic storefront on Old Berwick Road in the heart of SB. They've been doing screen printing for over 20 years. They have high-quality product at a low price. Be sure to check them out. Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, 570-784-1212. Now, on to the show.
Hey, this is Chef Laura Cole from Denali National Park, Alaska, and you're listening to Shawn Rosler on the Coarse Grind Podcast. Thanks.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back once again. Here we are with a new episode of the Coarse Grind Podcast, coming to you live from the parking lot of Hill Brewing Company. It's about 10:15, so not much is going on yet. According to Andrew, they're going to be opening at about 11 o'clock. Yeah, 11 after. Way to go. I haven't even drank yet. But already you can see some signs of wonderful activity. If you haven't been here yet, there's a lot going on just in general in the parking lot that was not before. For those of you who haven't driven by in a while, Farmer Moofy has taken up what would equate to permanent residence over here. And it's not just produce, it's not just, basic produce needs like that. There are some gorgeous flowers going on. There's just a whole lot over here. I'm kind of walking. This is the disability with having a podcast versus a vodcast, so you'll forgive me. But, potted plants, flowers, looks like herbs and such, so. And it's already jumping. I know I said they don't open to the public till 11, but you can already see stuff at play. Gorgeous flowers, cars going by. You can hear those too. But really just a nice presence. Nice presence to have just driving up the road if you need something. And this is really where we should be focusing our needs from a food perspective, is on the local farm market, not the mass produce. So, yeah, and again, lots of offerings, lots of stuff going on here this morning, so I'm going to be checking in and out, as you'll see once this episode gets published. Be recording, not recording, here and there. But really just a cool presence to have here, and I'm really hoping this picks up steam. So, again, as more folks come in, as more things show up, I'll be checking back with you. And we're back. So, about a half an hour later, going around meeting everybody. There's more going on here than I can even begin to tell you. Mike's Food Truck is here today. Mike's going to be opening up a new venture down on Route 11. Those of you who are intimately familiar with Bloomsburg, it is where the old liquor store used to be. Well, if you went to college here or are intimately familiar. But the menu just looks absolutely insane. Super impressive, super fresh. I was talking to Andrew Nebel, the head of front of house here at Hill Brewing, and the presentation, everything combined, just makes it a really cool offering. So I'm going to meander over here. I don't know if you can hear me meandering, but that's what I'm doing, and check out the menu. So, grass-fed beef burger or sockeye salmon burger, and sourdough, kale, mushrooms, Parmesan horseradish sauce. Absolutely ridiculous. The other cool thing about Mike's Food Truck here is that they're attentive to the vegan needs. Next up on the menu, there's a mashed chickpea sandwich made with cucumber scallions on a grilled rolled fresh greens and red onion. Next up for the non-vegans, a marinated steak sandwich, grilled roll, braised kale, red onion, Parmesan horseradish aioli. So again, you're kind of getting the idea of what's going on here. So my hope is that later on today, I'll get a chance to talk to Mike of Mike's Food Truck, along with all the other vendors and folks in general here today. So again, by the time you hear this, it's going to be well past the 10 to 2 time frame that this is going on. But if you're listening to this, be sure to pay attention to Turkey Hill Brewing and everything that they're offering on Saturdays here in the parking lot. It's an absolute phenomenal experience. Get here soon. We're here with Mike from Mike's Food Truck. Mike, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, we opened up the food truck last summer, so we're actually just hitting our first full year with the truck. And before that, I had a little cafe where I really got into, sourcing a lot of things locally and, getting fresh produce and meats and everything from as many local farms as possible. So when it came time to open up the truck, I tried to kind of stick with that as much as possible. So we work with a lot of farms to, grow our beef and vegetables and everything like that, and just trying to serve good, tasty food to everybody.
Awesome. So looking at the history in the future, historically, you were with the grain place down on, what street? It's down by BTE, right?
Yeah, it's Center Street,
okay.
225. Yeah. I opened up that cafe. I had left the bakery that I was working for. We wanted a place to showcase their breads and everything. So what I ended up doing was opening a cafe where I could cook food and feature their breads. And did that for a few years, and then decided I wanted to kind of just do something on my own. So we left and did the truck, and now we're working on some other fun projects as well.
That's awesome. So here you are in the parking lot of Turkey Hill with this wonderful green truck. I love it. You can't miss it. It's fantastic.
Electric avocado.
Well, electric avocado. You heard it here first. And so you've got this going on at present, but talk to me about future state. I heard something very exciting this morning, which involved the liquor store, which by default excites me because,
Yeah, so the liquor store moved 2 years ago, and that building's just kind of been sitting vacant. And Karina Creasy, who runs Bloom Naturally, bought the building. And what she wanted to do was, put her store there, but also she wanted somebody to put a restaurant in there. So she came to me and said, would you want to open up a shop there? And I was actually looking for a kitchen that I could supply the food truck. And I thought, well, we could put some chairs in there, and now it's kind of turned this into this whole bistro sort of thing that we're going to be opening up this fall here. So
awesome.
it'll be sort of an accompaniment to the truck. When the winter hits, the truck kind of slows down quite a bit. So this will be something should time out just right, that we'll be able to open that up. The truck will go to sleep for the winter and get the restaurant up and running, and
awesome.
Should be pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So looking at your menu, I see there's a lot of lean into not just the meat eaters, which I'm one of them. I'm a proud meat eater, proud carnivore. But also I saw a vegan offering on there.
Yeah.
Is that intentional, or is that just by?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, so my wife's recently vegan, but I've always everybody should be able to eat something, So I want to have options for everybody, and also safe. I want people to know that I'm going to take my time to cook everything in separate pans. There's not going to be, obviously, no cross-contamination, but also just if I touch cheese with this tongue, I'm not going to touch your vegan food with it, too.
Right on, man. Because I think that's probably one of the biggest cultural dick moves, to be honest. Like, we can take pot shots, and I had your wife being recently vegan, you might want to familiarize yourself with Natalie Slater from Bake and Destroy. If you remember the Skate and Destroy logo?
Yeah.
So she's Bake and Destroy. She's out of Chicago.
Okay.
She was like my third episode, but she is a vegan baker.
Okay.
And she's been on Cupcake Wars and shit like that.
It's tough. It's tough.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
But she took the opportunity to make every joke at her own expense. Like she took every pot shot that she could at vegan. So it's like, it's fair. But at the same time, I think the cultural asshole move is that we're just like, oh, you're vegan? Well, here's some steamed vegetables.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a... And I was looking, it was a chickpea falafel?
I have both. So the falafel's completely vegan, and I do that pan-fried because we don't have a deep fryer on the truck. I'm trying to keep things as fresh as possible, so no deep fryers. But we also have a mashed chickpea sandwich, which kind of works out. It's almost like a chicken salad or something. I love it, and it's filling. It's it's a chilled sandwich, so it's refreshing, perfect for August. Always have an option for them. But we have steak that my dad actually raises White Park cattle, so we make the steak sandwich as well. So if you want meat, we got it. If you want vegan or vegetarian, we can do that too.
I think I was telling you about Hudson Valley last weekend. We did a Malaysian broth that was completely vegan.
Yeah.
For noodles. Honestly, I'd pick that hand over fist every time. So chickpea. Chickpea sandwich, falafel.
I help organize Taming of the Brew, and we took the food truck up there this year, and we just had little crustinis for people to try things. And the one that we made that was vegan, we didn't label it vegan, but that was the #1 favorite. Everybody loved it. It was black garlic and some mushrooms. And
How do you not
like
love that?
What's that?
How do you not love that? Because that's that umami is like the close cousin to meat. It's like you can almost get away with it if they don't know.
Oh yeah. So people loved it. And
that's phenomenal.
I didn't tell almost anybody that was vegan, because it's also, if you eat meat and you see vegan, you're instantly turned off, it seems.
Exactly.
So it's really tricky to market things.
Yeah.
Not as vegan, but so that vegans know too.
You can't do it the other way around though. That's just mean. Come here, vegan. No, it's not meat.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do
that.
that.
I used to make a vegan bacon, and I used to tell a lot of people, I was like, well, the trick is you use bacon fat in it, and it comes out great. But I never actually put bacon fat in it, but
that's awesome.
It was pretty good stuff, actually.
That's awesome. All right, so Mike, I know you got to get back, but tell us all again where we can find you. Where are we looking for you the next couple weekends?
Well, the truck, so we're set up regularly at Tee to Green every Thursday now through August. Through the rest of the year, probably through October, we're going to be at Wild for Salmon every Friday. Okay. And then every Saturday we're at a different event, either up here at Turkey Hill, or we do a lot of different farmers markets, hit up different brew pubs, just kind of get around. And then this fall, Route 11 is the name of the restaurant. We'll be opening that up too. ROOT.
ROOT. I love it. I love it. And they can find you on the social, on the Facebook sphere.
Yeah, we got Facebook, Instagram. We have our website, mikesfoodtruckpa.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Hey, thanks for the time.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, man. All right, so we're back, and I'm here with Jim Hahn from the farmhouse here at Turkey Hill. How's it going, sir?
Going great.
Good. Talk to me about what's going on in this parking lot. So this wasn't always a thing, was it?
Not always. We just started this summer. We have a food truck come every Saturday, and we have Farmer Mufi's produce set up at the end of the parking lot here with fresh produce and plants and flowers. And our bar is open downstairs until 3 o'clock.
I mean, I didn't visit the bar yet, Jim, did I?
No, not at all. That's orange juice.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I think one of the cool things about this setup, and it has been, so Farmer Mufi was set up there for a little bit before this started happening.
Right.
But, like, having that associated with a restaurant, I think that's not only a strong move, but it's a culturally significant move. So many times we're in the convenience. But talk to me about what true locally sourced produce means.
Well, this year, as a matter of fact, is the first year. Farmer Mufi's been here for the past couple years, actually 3 years, I believe, and sets up his produce there. But this is the first year that he's actually started farming the field behind both of our properties here, and it's been great for us in the kitchen. We can literally go down to the field and pick what we want to pick for that evening. Both the brew pub and the farmhouse have been using this produce since he's been set up at the middle of June.
Mm-hmm. So and talk to the people about, so many people think locally sourced is just a cost, almost an unnecessary cost. What benefit comes with that to the diner, to the preparers?
Quality and freshness is what I focus on being a chef anyway. As far as being sustainable, it is difficult for local restaurants to for the farmers to keep up with the amount that we would be using in some cases. In this case, we have a farmer not necessarily working for us, but working with us. So he's talked to us at the beginning of the year, what are we going to use the most of? He has a rather large field down there, so if I tell him I'm going to put a kale salad on the menu, he's going to plant enough kale that I don't have to get from other purveyors, from other states, from other municipalities.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to there's so much of a disconnect. And I mean, this could go for protein as well, I'm sure.
Right.
Disconnect between the source and the plate. And
exactly.
As a chef, I imagine that's a pretty central cause to your core to get away from that, to teach people where it's coming from.
Exactly. And, every night over at the farmhouse, we have people asking, where's our beef coming from? Where's our chicken coming from? Where's our produce coming from? And it is very comforting to be able to tell them. Yeah. If you just walk 100 yards to your left, you'll see where everything's coming from for the market.
Not off styrofoam, not from plastic.
Exactly.
But I can show you the animal it's from.
Right.
Very cool. Very cool. So I know where you're at. How did you get here? What's your backstory in 500 words or less?
Creative writing. As a matter of fact,
yeah.
Went to school for creative writing and ended up working in restaurants from the time I was in high school.
Nice.
I've been here at the farmhouse for 23 years. Moved back here from out west after school and started working here almost immediately and never left.
So 23 years up in the farmhouse. Now,
exactly.
It should be noted that there is a brewing company and there is the farmhouse. The farmhouse
right.
is a bit more of the Michelin feel vibe and so on. The brewing company and the food's exquisite. Don't get me wrong. My wife would kill me if I said otherwise. It's a bit more of a brewery vibe. So they've got two flavors here. And again, you head up the farmhouse. So talk to me about the farmhouse's inspiration overall. Where do you go to for that menu?
Well, it changes all the time, as a matter of fact. Just the past couple years, we've been focusing more on small plates and tapas. And like you said, more locally sourced, easy to get ingredients, simple food, but still with a creative twist to it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so both Turkey Hill entities you can find online on all the socials, on all the, you and I look like we came into the social a little late in the game, but
right.
That's okay.
True.
We forgive
True.
ourselves. But they're available on the social, located here in lovely Bloomsburg. Both the brewery and the farmhouse, both connected. And hey, there's rooms too. If you enjoy yourself a little too much, you can always crash in one of the rooms here.
We have a lot of packages, dinner room packages, wine and cheese packages, and this fall we're going to be doing a Meet the Brewer package where you're actually going to be able to get a room, stay overnight, and actually brew with Donnie Abrazinskis, our head brewer.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So again, keep your eyes peeled for more details. Turkey Hill Brewing, the farmhouse at Turkey Hill, both just amazing offerings here in our little burg of Bloom. So be sure to check it out. And again, Chef Jim, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm here with Brian Campbell, and you might recognize the name from the soup. You might recognize the name from a friend named Brian, but others here know him as Moofy. Is that correct, sir?
You got it.
Awesome. So talk to me about Farmer Moofy's produce. Where you were. You were down the road a little bit originally, right?
That's correct. So I'm actually 51, and I started Moofy's produce stand when I was 14. So it's got quite a longevity there.
Now let me jump in here real quick. He says he's 51. I think he's full of shit. I'm gonna call him on it right now because I'm like, God, I hope I look that good at 41. So that's just he's pulling out the license.
So we do have the birth date. There we go.
Look at
1966. So,
all right. So he's actually 51, and it makes me just feel worse about my aging process. So you started at 14, same location down the hill, or has it changed?
Yeah, so it's interesting. My father actually was a medical doctor. Just retired at 80 this past year.
Holy cow.
Purchased a farm back in the late 60s, early 70s, and out of 6 kids, I was the one that was beside him just about all the time. So it was 200 acres, hobby farm, but it was actually a full-time job for him. But so although some people call it work, that's what he loved to do.
Yep.
Same drive that I've got. Love what I do. But started back then. Actually, when I was 10 years old, Bloomsburg Farmers Market, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Neighbor lady used to go down to the farmers market. My father was a patient of his. My dad would drop me off making rounds, and I'd have 100 ears of sweet corn. That's really where I got started. So I'd sit there as a little kid. Then when I was 14. Down on the corner of Central Road and Route 11. Now is the bank there. It used to be an empty lot. The McDowells owned that, whom we were friends with, and they allowed me to sit there. So we had a wagon, and I'd put my produce out there. My dad would stop by and check on me. I raised a little bit of sweet corn, a little bit of tomatoes. I remember some people laugh at it when I was in school. I'd take one day off in the spring to plant my 400 tomato plants, and I'd call in and say that's what I was doing, and everything was accepted. It was okay.
That's incredible.
Anyway, I was down on the corner, and then I got bounced around as the real estate started to go. So then I went down by Dunkin' Donuts and next to Dillon's, and then I went to Penn State. Wrestling was a big part of my life. I was a runner-up in 1985 at Central Columbia in States.
All right.
Wrestled at Penn State for 4 years, 85 to 90. And that sport, you never quit. You're always looking what you can do to get better, so on and so forth. A lot of the things I use today.
Mm-hmm.
But what I say? I went to Penn State for agriculture. Came home, production agriculture. Always had the produce stand. Everybody knows me by Moof. So when they hear Moof, even at Penn State, they know me by Moof.
That's great.
So Brian's unheard of. Kind of like when you came up, who's Brian? Nobody knows.
Yeah, to be fair, Brian came up to me. He's like, "Hey, I'm Brian Campbell." I'm like, "Hey, I'm Shawn Rosler. Nice to meet you." Now, in the back of my head, I see his shirt and it says Farmer Moofy's. I'm like, all right, do I make this? Because, all right, 51, former wrestler, trust me, he's still cutting the figure here. And I'm like, I'm not going to call this guy Moofy at random and risk getting an ass beaten in a parking lot. But that's you. That's Moof.
There you go. Once again, everybody knows me by Moof, so they wonder who the heck Brian is. So, but still today, nothing fancy. We've grown. Local produce stand. Love what I do. Locals come out, and we try to give them our own local produce. And
fantastic.
We've had a fantastic opportunity here with the brew pub and to bring some.
Yeah,
fun to the table.
You filled up a massive field with your stuff there. Like that's not a small field. That's a big field.
That's great, and this is the first year we've had that, so we're really looking exciting in the future to be able to put things out there that are more eye appeal. Some, flowers from the road. We get a tremendous following on the glads and the sunflowers, but also kale was one of them. We just threw it out there. We don't sell kale at the stand, but it's a staple item here in the restaurant, and they're down nipping it off every day. So. Yeah. We think the future is going to be awesome. So.
There's no question. But and you said something important there about being able to go down and just nip it off at random. What is the value of that? I talked to Jim from the farmhouse, and obviously he's going to give you the culinary spin on that. But what is you went to Penn State, you know this stuff inside and out. What's the benefit of having that at the ready like that?
There's many different opportunities and positives to that local flavor and being able to go out and pick it and put it on the table. I'm going to say primarily, since I'm a farmer, there are so many farmers out there, it's a tough life. Mm-hmm. So to be able to market your product and get a fair price for it hasn't been easy.
Yeah.
Pulling this local flavor in for a restaurant to be able to go to that local farmer, pay him a fair price for the product, a huge win on the farmer's side. But then you talk about the restaurants, what a win from them. You're picking it today and it's on your plate tonight. You can't get any fresher. You're pulling product out of other countries. Years ago, you're pulling it from California with a 5-day transit. The quality isn't there. So to be able to get a variety that you may raise in your backyard on the plate at the restaurant, it's unmatched, period.
The second you pull it, it starts to fade.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Sweet corn, for instance, not that that's an item in restaurants. The sugar immediately starts changing the starch due to heat. So if you can get that pick, get it on the table. If you can pick a tomato when it's red and ready to eat versus pink, and then you set it on the table waiting for it.
Hope that it gets to where you want it.
Phenomenal flavor difference. It's like going into your backyard, into your garden.
Absolutely.
Most of the products that are coming out of Florida, California, overseas, they're bred for longevity and shelf life and not necessarily flavor. So you got to have a tomato that ships from Florida to here.
Yeah.
If you can pick a tomato that you hold in your hand, and if you put it in a box, it's going to be mush. The flavor's phenomenal. So that's what we're doing right here at the end.
And I mean, it comes through hand over fist. So again, if you're heading up Central Road here, if you're in the area at all and you're looking for some produce, I think Moofy's the way to go. And when are you open here?
We're here 7 days a week. We advertise 10 to 6. If I'm here, we're open. If we're here opening or we're here closing, we're still open. So
I love it.
Enjoy the public, enjoy the following. It's been great.
Absolutely, and they can find you on Facebook, Farmer Moofy's Produce.
We do. I haven't been very active on it, but I think my wife and some of the girls in the office are doing quite a bit with it.
All right, terrific. So be sure to check it out on Facebook and probably on Instagram. Brian might not know. I'm sorry, Moof. Moof might not know, but be sure to check it out. And if you're in the area and you want the localist, bestest produce, be sure to come check Farmer Moofy out here. So, Brian, thank you, buddy.
Appreciate the communication.
Absolutely, buddy. We're inside now, and I'm sitting down with Nebel here in one of my favorite places in the world, inside the Hill Brewing Company. And for those of you unaware, shame on you. Why would you not be aware? Mr. Nebel is the king of all he purveys, surveys here in the front of the house at the brewery. So, if you want to listen to his talk, go back and listen to the old episode. Let's talk about the new stuff that's going on here. Talk about the Brewers Weekend.
Yep. So we, I think last time we talked, obviously we've had some good changes in here and maturity and growth with some food and beer inside of here, and along with that, something that we're trying to do now is blend the whole property even more. We have the 23-room in here and the fine dining restaurant and obviously the brewing company. So starting this winter, sometime in December, we're going to do a Brewers Weekend. So it'll be a 2-night stay at our inn, 8 to 12 people. And what we'll do is Friday night, groups will come in. We'll do a little taste testing of our latest beers, and they'll meet with myself and the head brewer, Donnie Iverzinskis, and assistant brewer, Tim Plisevich. And they'll talk a little bit about what to expect. And then on Saturday, they'll brew with the guys for the day. So they'll get a hands-on experience of what we do in the brew house and all of the little nuances that go into brewing the finely crafted beers we do here at Turkey Hill.
That's awesome. That's awesome because, I think a lot is lost. I think even for those of us like myself who maybe brew once a year, a 5-gallon bucket in your basement. And, it turns out fine. It's a Belgian double citrus. I need to bring you that last bottle. That's a little side note. Look at me being a professional. But, there's a big leap from personal to professional. And in that day alone, like give the listeners an idea of what they'd see in just that short 24 to 48 hour time span. What would they say?
Well, you definitely see some beer being made. That's for sure. So
how much beer at a time though? It's not a small volume.
210 gallons. So 7 barrels. They'll do 7 barrels in there. One brew day, about 7 or 8 hours. A lot of cleaning. The biggest part of being in the brew house is keeping everything clean. As you move the wort over, the product over, getting the mash tun cleaned out of all the grain. We put it into garbage cans, and then we have a local farmer actually that picks it up, uses the spent grain for his cattle around here. Typically, you're going to be sweaty, you're going to be hot, even in the wintertime. But a lot of process. There's predominantly cleaning. You just kind of get a good feel. Donnie and Tip will talk about temperature scales that they like to use, what goes into the grain bill for the certain beer that they're brewing, why they do it, when they put the hops in, at certain times, why they do it at those times, not others. So, you really will get an entire crash course, and not only will you be a part of the brewing process, but, kind of the attraction to it is that you'll be with those guys that they'll be giving you very in-depth details as much as you want. You just want to talk about flavors and what you like to drink, they'll do that. You want to get into to grain bill and what makes this beer taste the way it does, then they can get into that too. So
yeah, because it's a science. I had Brian Boakes from Boakes Brewing.
Yep.
They're no longer around.
Yep.
But I have one case unopened of their double B&W.
Yep.
Still in my basement. I'm not touching.
Save that. Yeah.
Dan Yarnell from Church Brew down in Pittsburgh. And actually, Dan saved my bacon once because I was doing an all-grain brew, and I had never done it before. And I didn't have the sap.
Yep.
And I got on the phone because the brewing, it was Northern Brewing Supplies, had an 800 number. I'm like, oh, you're going to need this, talking over my head. I'm like, I don't understand it. And I looked, and literally Dan was like 2 episodes ago. I'm like, I text Dan, I'm like, hey, brewmaster of Church Brew, how you doing? Calls me right back.
Yep.
He's like, hey, here's what you need to do. Go and get this. Blah, blah. Perfect. And it turned out beautifully. So
that's the beauty of the business.
It's a science.
Yep.
So it's an art and a science.
For sure. You'll definitely get to see both sides of it. They've been brewing beer. Beer is not reinvented. It's been around for a while. That those guys keep a base, but then we put our own little spin on stuff to make it our own as well. So
yeah, and just to be fair here, I feel the need to hang an accolade out here that might not have been made public at this point. I told Mr. Nebel this, but in visiting my dear friend Beth and her man Chef Pardis last weekend, the Mexican lager was just over the moon.
Yep, that's a Turkey Hill. That's a Turkey Hill exclusive. We're getting that one trademarked. It's the only style that we can find of that. It's a Mexican lager grain bill, and then it has Czech style Saaz hops through it. So it's a nice light hybrid, summer lager that we created.
It was stellar. You should know that as he was prepping, that was one of the things that brought a smile to his face. So well done. So again, if you're in the area on a Saturday or any other day of the week, if you drive by here, the parking lot is full, and as Bourdain would have told you.
Still come in though. Come in anyways.
Yeah, come in anyway. Doesn't matter if it's full. But I mean, you see that parking lot full, you know it's a good sign. And on a Wednesday night, Tuesday night, doesn't matter. It's full no matter what. So be sure to check it out. Turkey Hill Brewing Company here in Bloomsburg, as well as the farmhouse. They're close neighbors to each other. Be sure to check them out. And Mr. Nebel, as always,
yes,
a pleasure.
Thank you, Shawn. Appreciate it, man.
Retour pour se